خانم ها و آقایان، سلام بر شما. سلام گرم و صمیمانه من رو از شبکه جهانی تلویزیون امید ایران بپذیرید. امیدوارم در هر کجا که هستید خوب و خوش و سلامت و پاینده و برقرار باشید. چند روز قبل من یکی از بهترین دوستان زندگیم رو از دست دادم. یه رفیق، دوران همکلاسی ما، دوران رومیت بودن ما، دورانی که فقط به دنبال این بودیم که عشقی پیدا کنیم، عشق واقعی، عشق زندگی. من این رفیق رو از دست دادم. بسیاری مثل من زندگی کردید، آمدید به آمریکا تک و تنها و خب با دیگر هموطنان رومیت شدیم، با دوستان آشنا شدیم و یک زندگی تازه‌ای را آغاز کردیم. من هم همینطور، من هم تا هفته جدا بافته نبودم. من هم این چنین آغاز کردم مثل بسیاری از شما. علی محمدزاده چرتابیان، دوست و رفیق و رومیت و کسی که با او خاطرات بسیاری در زندگیم پیدا کردم. دورانی که ما در یک بشقاب با همدیگه غذا می‌خوردیم. دورانی که شبها برای هم قصه های دوران بچگی رو تعریف می‌کردیم. دوری از پدر و مادر، غم زندگی در غربت رو با همدیگه تقسیم می‌کردیم. چه روزهایی بود. و همون روزها پایه شد برای رفیقی که تا چند روز قبل رفیق من بود. گه و بیگاه دلم برای او تنگ میشد، زنگ میزدم. گه و بیگاه او سرزده به استودیو من میآمد، سرزده بدون که زنگ بزنه، و وقتی که میآمد خودش رو همه کاره میدونست، برای اینکه همین هم بود. وقتی که دو رفیق زندگی با هم داشته باشن، هر چقدر هم که بالا برن و هر جایی هم که باشن باز با هم شریکند و لذت می بردن از مطلق های او، از انتقادات او، از تعریف های او. و ناگهان خبردار شدم که علی من هم رفت. خیلی سخته وقتی که بخوایم اسم رفیقی رو، شماره تلفن اون رو از تلفنت حذف کنی. ولی به هر حال این زندگی است و بازی زمانه. به هر حال علی عزیز ما، من دوست دارم عکس علی رو نشون بدید به جای اینکه منو نشون بدید. بله، علی عزیز من دیگر در بین ما، در بین دو خواهر عزیزش نیست و روز پنجشنبه 28 آگوست این دوست عزیز من به خاک سپرده میشه و خداحافظی همیشگی با او خواهیم داشت. این مراسم اسم خاک سپاری خیلی منو اذیت میکنه. این مراسم روز پنجشنبه 28 آگوست از ساعت 1:03 در جلوی گیت فارسلان آغاز خواهد شد. من از شما دوستان، آشنایان دعوت میکنم، از طرف خانواده محمدزاده، شهلای عزیز، زهره عزیز، آقای روحانی و دیگر دوستان دعوت میکنم که حتما در این مراسم شرکت کنید. پنجشنبه همین هفته 28 آگوست 1:03 در جلوی گیت فارسلان به گرد هم بیاییم تا در این مراسم غم‌انگیز با یکدیگر سهیم و شریک باشیم. باز هم اعلام میکنم این مراسم روز پنجشنبه 28 آگوست ساعت 1:03 در مقابل گیت فارسلان گرد هم میاییم و سپس در این مراسم شرکت خواهیم کرد. بیشتر از این نمیتونم صحبت کنم. اجازه بدید برنامه‌مون رو آغاز بکنیم. برنامه بسیار سختی هست برای من، برای اینکه اصلا حال و هوای آنچنانی در طول این 2-3 روز گذشته نداشتم و ندارم و نخواهم داشت. چرا که وقتی که انسان رفیقی رو از دست میده، انگار یکی از بندهای انگشتانش رو از دست داده. علی من همیشه با من و با خانواده‌اش خواهد بود. خب در این بخش از برنامه همونطور که میدونید در این ساعت برنامه‌ای برای شما هر هفته پخش میشه که یکی از زیباترین و پر اطلاعات ترین برنامه‌های تلویزیونی است و از اونجایی هم که اگه کسی مدعی باشه که آدم حرفه‌ای هست، هر اتفاقی هم براش بیفته باید کارشو انجام بده، فرقی نمیکنه. و کمان که وقتی که پدر من رفت، روز بعد من آمدم و در تلویزیون برنامه‌مو رو اجرا کردم. این یه کار حرفه‌ایه و باید احساس رو کنار گذاشت، اگرچه کار بسیار سخت و دشوار است. به هر حال در این برنامه‌ای که من به اتفاق دوست و برادر بسیار عزیزم مهندس جهانگیر اردلان اجرا میشه هر هفته، شاهد هستید که چه اطلاعات بسیار مهمی در اختیار شما گذاشته میشه. و اما بسیاری از شما عزیزان حتما که در کالیفرنیا و بهتر بگم در لس آنجلس زندگی میکنید، به شهر اینگلوود آشنایی کامل دارید. یکی از شهرهای قدیمی لس آنجلس است و به هر حال این روزها میبینیم از طرف دولت توجه بسیاری شده به این شهر و داره یک تحولات بزرگی برای سازندگی این شهر صورت میگیره. خوشحالم که شخصیت هایی که در اینجا حضور دارن به هر حال آمدیم که یک مقدار اطلاعات بیشتر به شما بدیم و شما هم که در لس آنجلس زندگی میکنید یا در اون حومه زندگی دارید یا محل کسب و کاری دارید اطلاع پیدا بکنید و شمایی هم که در تمامی دنیا دارید زندگی میکنید ببینید از نظر سازندگی شهری چه سیستم هایی در این کشور صورت میگیره که تونسته امروز به عنوان یکی از بهترین شهرسازی های دنیا آمریکا خودش رو معرفی کنه. خیلی خوش آمد میگم مهندس اردلان و I'd like to welcome to every one of you for being here today. So as you know, it's a OITN Omid Iran television program. As you mentioned that we have seen each other for many times
absolutely.
Before. Okay, so I'm very happy to meet you again.
My pleasure, absolutely.
And so we'd like to interview yourself, your name and your position in the city, and
let me first say
Mohandes Ardalan will
yes.
explain and we'll ask you more questions about these things because I'm not that much familiar actually with that.
Thank you.
و با عرض سلام به بینندگان محترم تلویزیون امید ایران و با تشکر فراوان از شما جناب رفیعی که واقعا این فرصت هر سه شنبه به ما میدین که بیایم در تلویزیون شما و بتونیم این برنامه‌های خوب رو اجرا بکنیم.
مرسی از شما که تشریف
امروز اصلا متفاوت این برنامه ما. تفاوتش به خاطر اینه که ما تونستیم واقعا یک اپورتونتی، یه فرصتی باشه برای ایرانی هایی که در آمریکا هستن یا در خارج از آمریکا هستن و حالت دیولپر هستن و اجازه کار دارن در سیتی اف لس آنجلس بتونن، یعنی در کالیفرنیای جنوبی، که بتونن این فرصت براشون باشه. الان حدود به جرئت بگم 100 میلیون دلار بودجه برای بازسازی یک قسمت از شهر اینگلوود تعیین شده که ما دنبال یک دیولپر میگردیم، یعنی دیولپری که کوالیفای باشه که بتونه این شهرسازی رو بتونه انجام بده. یعنی سابقه کاری داشته باشه که به حساب ساختمان‌هایی از جمله هتل، ساختمان‌های بزرگ مسکونی، تجاری، اینا رو ساخته باشه و این پورتفولیو رو که داشته باشه بتونه کوالیفای بشه که بتونه این 100 میلیون پروژه رو در سیتی آف اینگلوود انجام بده. ما خوشحالیم که تونستیم این گروهی که این کار رو عهدهدار شدن که الان به هر حال آمریکایی هستن، یکی از این افراد کسیه که به هر حال من 30 سال پیش افتخار همکاریشو داشتم، یکی از پلانرهای خوب سیتی آف لس آنجلس بوده و این به خاطر اون ارق وجودی که داره به هر حال سیاه هستش و سیتی آف اینگلوود هم به هر حال مردمش افراد با شخصیت و خوب سیاه هستن که اومده یک قسمتی از این شهر رو دارن بازسازی میکنن. I would like to welcome you, Dwayne, and also Dwayne White. Would you please introduce yourself, give me your background?
Absolutely, and thank you very much, Nada and John, for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here. Dwayne Wyatt, I'm currently a city planner for the city of Los Angeles for about 27 years. Me and my colleagues, well, I'm a principal with UIG Urban Innovation Group. That's our development company. And we're kind of venturing out to do what we think is a fascinating, very exciting project that we look forward to sharing with your community. And my colleague, Dwayne Weisenhouse.
Yes, and my name is Dwayne Weisenhouse. I've been an architect for over 30 years, and I've met Dwayne about 4 years ago, and we hit it off, and we just had a bunch of ideas, and we just thinking outside the box, and we stumbled onto this area that we thought would be a great place to develop, and next thing we know, we've come up with some great ideas to create new communities.
May I ask you, why did you select Inglewood to do this project?
Well, our focus with UIG is that we were looking mostly in areas that had been generally neglected. And Dwayne has always been fighting for saying, we need to understand the community and understand why these areas have an opportunity to develop. And most of the big developers have just, bypassed places like Inglewood, but we saw the potential. And so we were looking around and thinking about it, and we think, we feel like the time is right for Inglewood. It had a lot of time struggling for a couple of decades, but it was just at this moment when other developments are happening, when people are moving into the city, that it seemed like the time is right. And so when we started looking at it, we were looking at some properties, and the more we realized that it can't be done in isolation. We can't do one building and then have the rest of it very run down. We're saying we can totally transform something by doing an entire development.
That's similar to CRA, am I right? Basically, in the city of Los Angeles, we have
Well, it's Community Redevelopment Agency,
yes.
then that was their task, absolutely, which no longer exists, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I want to piggyback on my colleague's statements. The trend is right. I mean, there is a move back into the city. Professionals are designed to live in urban communities. We're developing a marvelous light rail transit system from downtown LA to the airport. The site that we're looking at is 3 miles from the airport.
When you say airport, Los Angeles
Los Angeles Airport, absolutely.
Yes.
And the site we're looking at is about 2 to 3 miles from the airport, and probably about 50 feet from the new
We're right
light
across the
rail
street
station.
from the train station.
Across the street from the train station. So all the points heads towards this area. If we look at Culver City within the last 10 years, I don't know if you've been to Culver City lately.
Of course.
It's
Yes.
quite magnificent.
Mhm.
And they did that
Very
with,
much so.
and that was planning. That was a plan. The fathers and mothers of Culver City decided they wanted a real downtown. And they put the effort in developing, attracting the retail and restaurants, and now it's quite a great destination for the people in the region. We think Inglewood is right there. It's the next city over, and it's poised for that kind of development.
How old is this city?
City Inglewood goes back
At
into
least 100 years.
Yeah,
It was
at
one
least-
of the major just like Pasadena and Santa Monica is one
Right.
of the major
Major
centers
of Los Angeles.
of Los
Yes,
Angeles, and it
yes.
used to be the central business district for all of South Bay.
Is it older
Absolutely.
than Pasadena
It's
City?
about the same.
It's about the same
About the
age.
same, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did you select basically this area close to the city hall? Am I right? It's a city hall.
Oh.
Inglewood is not far away from the
It's
place.
almost across the street from City Hall.
Well,
Exactly.
well,
And
two-
would you give us the name of the street? Exactly what are they existed right now? What is the use of the existing place? Who owns it? The city owns the place, or we have a private people? How could you just give us a
Right.
detail?
And
does it
the
work?
whole
Sure.
area with the Arts District, which is 2 blocks, we've got one block that's owned totally by the city.
Mhm.
It was a car dealership, and it's been a vacant lot for at least 15 years, and they've been trying to develop it for that long. And then you go to the south, and you've got the block there, which is owned by 40% by the city and 60% by other private owners. And we've been in discussions with them about, being either a partnership or selling their property, so we've been looking at that too. And then across the street from the vacant lot is additional, there's a mall that's owned by private owners, so.
And how old is that mall? And which mall we are talking about?
Oh, it's on Market Street, right on Florence, and I'm sure it's like 50s or something,
Yeah.
and it's.
I'm sure by Google we can see some picture of Inglewood City.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Right.
we can show it
Absolutely.
after a while.
Okay.
But my question is, sorry,
Sure.
why the most majority of population in Inglewood are black? Why?
Mhm, mhm. Well, it's
It's actually 50% Hispanic.
yes,
Hispanic?
Mhm.
50% Hispanic, right, right. Which represents a trend in the county in terms of the
Uh-huh.
growth of the Hispanic population. Inglewood is though increasingly become a more diverse community, not just African American. Also, we should know that Inglewood, interesting enough, is a fairly middle class settlement. People think of Inglewood as being a poor community. Inglewood, within I would say 5-mile radius, you're talking about household income of a little around 50,000. You're talking about being adjacent to the Baldwin Hills, Blair Hills,
Ladera Heights.
Ladera Heights, and there you have income. You have household income up to 80,000-90,000 per household.
Very good.
Mhm.
So it's
But it's among the very nice city around. So
Yes,
you
absolutely.
can compare with Manhattan, Hermosa Beach.
absolutely
Yes.
Actually, the airport. So
Right.
Los Angeles airport is one of the very nice area right
2
now.
miles from the
2
airport.
miles,
2
yeah.
miles from the airport.
So
Absolutely.
it's very interesting.
Dwayne, give
Mhm.
us some background of your design. Basically, how did you come out with this magnificent design that you're doing, which I have seen it and I was so impressed with it, be honest with you. And it's amazing. I mean, give me your background.
Well, I have worked for a lot of large firms over my career, and I worked for Gensler, which is one of a global firm that does a lot of high design. So I learned a lot from a lot of very talented people. Then I worked for another firm, Perkowitz and Ruth, which also does a lot of creative architecture. So I had some good teachers. We understood fairly soon that the best place for the first block we were looking at, which is going to be retail on the ground floor and residential above. It's a very common building type for something like that. And we're trying to create this very active street. What we're trying to do is look at examples like the 3rd Street Promenade, Pine Street in Long Beach, Old Town Pasadena. That's what we're looking at for the 2 blocks from the train station south through what we're calling the Arts District. And so it creates this very lively entertainment area, a place to go dining, a place to see a movie, which Inglewood doesn't have that yet. And so that's the biggest draw, and that's what's missing in Inglewood. Then we looked at the site that was the most interesting site, which is completely vacant. It's right on the train tracks. And we were thinking,
Yeah, would you explain about this
Okay.
picture?
all right, yes, if you look on the left, that's what I talked about. That's going to be ground floor retail, and it's going to have maybe 4 stories of residential above.
Would you give us the street's name one more time?
Sure. The street that runs from the lower right to the upper left, that's Market Street, and it was the main commercial street at one time. And it's fallen, into a lot of. It's not doing very well right now, and we're saying we're going to revitalize it, and so we're looking at that over on the left. That's going to be the first block, and then we'll extend it all the way to the train station. The train station is just at the lower right. Now, right where you've got that tall building that's shaped like with the three wings on it, that's the hotel. And the way that hotel works is that it actually has two front doors. It's got the front door over on the right, and that leads you right to the airport. And the idea is that it actually has two different characters, and that's basically the concept, is that it's both an airport business hotel, but also an urban hotel. And they both have very good qualities to them, and by combining them two together, suddenly you've got something that's very premier, in that if you want to have the convenience of staying at the airport, you just go out the front door on the other side, which faces Market Street, and then there you are in this very busy area that has restaurants and shows and clubs and something. So that gives you an advantage. And the biggest complaint people have about the airport hotels here is
How
that
many
this-
stories?
12.
12 stories. And where are the parkings? Is it separate parking structures?
Subterranean.
Or how many stories?
2 subterranean
Two
levels.
subterranean level. And do you have any other separate parking structures?
Well, there will be a parking structure. If you look on the lower part of it, that's what we're calling Phase 3. It's green and brown, and we're showing it right now. And there's a large parking structure under the residential there. And then over on the left, upper left, and there's also a parking structure. So 3 of the 4 blocks that we're looking at have parking structures.
I got you. And that's public structures, like a city public structures, private, or how does it work?
Well,
Like
at this point, I mean, that's still up in the air. I mean, we're assuming that it can be part of the private development, but we may end up negotiating with the city, and then it would be it would be part of the public. So we still have that option.
I got you. And the brown building, you mentioned something about the brown building. That's a mixed use, am I right?
That's also mixed. It's also going to be retail facing Market Street. On the back side, it's going to be parking, and then above it'll be retail. And the reason why I don't show too many details is that that's Phase 3. We haven't actually looked through and examined what would be the best design, but so it's essentially our first stab at it.
Do you know any population of Iranian lives in
That we
city?
do not know. We know that we have a good population in the county and certainly in LA City, but not in the Inglewood, Torrance area. I think we have, actually I think in the South Bay there's a pretty good Iranian population. Don't you think in Torrance and?
Okay. Thank you so much. We have another guest. So he's an attorney of Inglewood City.
Oh,
right?
wow, okay.
Okay, so we'd like to invite him to come.
Yes.
Yes.
And he explained more about it as a, law issue that, what's going to happen for for the people that they live
Right.
Yeah.
in that city.
Okay.
Another question is, shall we show the existing, basically building on, do you have any?
We've got a copy of the
Yeah, if
map
we,
of the
if we
existing.
can show the existing map, like to specify even with the
Sure.
picture, see what it is and what it will be. Obviously you do have some other, beside the hotel, you do have some other rooms we were talking about, like how many occupants they can have for auditorium or that
Oh,
kind
sure.
of.
I mean,
Right.
that was part of also with the hotel. There would be a convention center
Uh-huh.
and a performing arts center.
Okay, we need a detail. If we can go through that hotel, we
Okay.
can open it up, see what is going on. Like when you say about 1,500 to 2,000 occupants,
Right.
that's a number we are talking about.
So we're looking at 420 rooms for the hotel, and we're also going to have maybe 45,000 square feet of convention space, and then a 600-seat auditorium. And that'll be on one block.
I got you. That's a lot, which is good.
Okay, so it's a good information. Thank you very much for your time. You inform us about many things that I'm sure many people would like to know about this. They're interested to see what's going to happen in the future. Inglewood is one of the very famous city in California,
Right,
actually.
right,
So
that's
they're
right.
very concerned about to see what's going to happen. So as a architecture, so you are explaining very well. And so let's invite the
The attorney of the
attorney
project.
of the
Yes.
project. So
Go ahead, please.
thank you
if
so
may
much.
Okay,
join us.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Michael Tustin.
Tuscan.
Tuscan.
Mr. Tuscan. Mr. Tuscan, you are very welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to our program. So as you saw that, this kind of program is very informative for people. Doesn't matter where they live. They like to know, about, what's going on in the city, in Los Angeles, in United States, how they can rebuild and make that city better for in the future.
Yes. We would like to welcome you to our program.
Very pleased to be here. Thank you.
If you can introduce yourself in detail, how you got involved with this group, and we would be appreciated.
Yes. Well, I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for almost 20 years, and I met Dwayne through Dwayne Weisenhouse through the Urban Land Institute. So that's how Dwayne Weisenhouse and I became acquainted. And I was really fascinated with the project that Urban Innovation Group has developed and everything. I've been with the group for a couple of years now, and it's just a very new and innovative project, and it's got so many fantastic ideas about what to do with the city of Inglewood, taking advantage of the demographic trends, as Dwayne had mentioned earlier, the move back to the city, and Generation Y has an interest in, that's the millennials, they have an interest in being closer to the city and in urban downtown areas and proximity to transit, as do older residents. In fact, 70% of older residents, according to a survey by the American Association of Retired Persons, are looking to be in walkable communities close to public transit, and this is exactly that. Within a quarter of a mile, the entire site is within a quarter of a mile of the incoming rail stop.
That's interesting. And how far apart are you in with this project? Like as far as the mayor's or city council's office, have you got any so far? What kind of approval you got? How you got the budget?
Well, we've had a number of discussions with the mayor personally. We've met with him, and he's very supportive of our project. Currently, there is a request for qualification the city has issued that we're competing with other groups for the project. Now, each group will have their own project that they will propose, and you've just seen, I think, what we have in mind. We have our financing in place, which is kind of odd that usually at this point, that's always a challenge, but we think we have the financing in place. What we're looking for now, and our team is relatively new. UIG is about 3 years old.
You mean it's not related any to a state?
No, ours is a private entity, private group that we came together. So our group is 3 years old, and we haven't had a chance to do a project of this magnitude. But we think it's a good project. We think it's one that would work and will work. And what we're looking for now is to find a developer that has done mixed-use development that would be interested in joining our team to work with us. So we're looking around at various communities and would be interested in anyone who would have the experience, the breadth of experience of doing a mixed-use development of this size to contact us or contact you, and we'd love to work with them. Like